solve the midsem questions. Let's see. Over here we have the questions, question one. Sorry, question two. Alright, so let's just copy this. Control C, and then paste it to MatLab, then we can start solving. But first of all, let's comment this out. So select everything, Control R to comment it out. Now, what the question is basically asking us to do is to plot values from 4. I think this 4 pi. It was minus 4 pi. Okay, so values between minus 4 pi to 4 pi for this equation, right? So the first thing we will do is to generate these values between 4 negative 4 pi and then 4 pi. And there are two ways that we can do that. So the first way is to say that x is equal to negative minus 4 times pi, right? Then use the column to 4 pi for, let's say, 4 times pi. And as well, let's run this and see what it gives us. So let's go to the command window and it gives us these values, right? But then maybe we want a specific number of values. So what I will do is to use linspace. So let me just copy this. Control C. Wipe out everything. Linspace. Minus 4 pi right, to 4 pi. And then let's say we want 1,000, I don't know, 10,000 values between those two numbers. Now, when you run this, it's going to give you 10,000 values between 4 pi and then negative 4 pi and then 4 pi. So here, there's a lot of values. So when you plot this, you get a more stable graph. Now let's put a semicolon at the end to separate that. And the next thing we have here is y. Now y is an equation. Is sine of x, right, plus the cosine of x all squared. Now the cosine is squared. Okay, sorry. So let's put the cosine and then square it. So, subscribe. But then when you run this, you're going to get an error because, yeah, and it says incorrect dimension for raising a matrix to a power. Check that the matrix is square, blah blah blah. What that basically means is that we need to do elements wise operation and not raise the whole matrix to the power of 2. So we go back and then put a full stop in front of this for element wise operation. Okay. So let's put this. Let's run this first and see. Yeah, I just want to make sure we are not multiplying the whole thing, but we are not raising the whole thing to the power of 2. Okay, so now when we run it, we are going to get the values for y, right? Pop up over here, right? And it's a lot of values. Okay, so let's go back to our editor menu and then suppress that because that's not what we have. They asked us for. They asked us to plot the values, so we are actually looking for the graph. So we go ahead and use the plot function to plot x against y. Right. And now when we run this, it will give us the plot of x against y. So there we have it, the plot for the equation that we were given. Now there are other things that we can do to this plot, maybe add a title, and say that then you have to put the title in quotation marks. So let's plot the function given, right? Okay. The function given. You can also label the axis, right? So you can name this the x-axis. Remember, it has to be in quotations. X-axis, axis, and you can also label the y. Sorry, y label, y label, label the y-axis. Don't forget the quotation marks. We have y-axis. Yes. Right. And another thing you can also do is to add color to this, right? So you can plot this as red, but then it has to be in quotation marks. Don't forget that. You can plot it as a red. The bottom can be red. So let's run this and see what we get. Looks like we have error somewhere. Alright, so the title is here, but then looks like we run into an error somewhere because I cannot see the. Oh yeah, the title and the color key, but then we had an error somewhere, so let's go and check that out. It says unrecognized function for xlabel. Okay, so what you need to notice here is that x is a capital letter and that's not supposed to be so. MATLAB is case sensitive, and when we come here to I did not spell the label correctly, so let's correct that and then rerun it again, and that should give us our that should give us, yeah, what we need. Y axis, X axis, the title, the color change. So that's about it for the graph, for plotting. And whenever you are lost and you need help in MATLAB, you can just simply come here and type help and then the function that you need the help with to plot. And MATLAB is basically going to give you all the assistance you need. Maybe you might have to do a little reading over here, right? It tells you what the plot does, and over here you can see the colors that are available and what you can actually plot. You can plot a continuous line, stars, squares, diamonds. So let's actually try something of that nature. So all you have to do is to come in here and then maybe add, let me see, Let's see. A triangle. Let's use B. Here. And let's plug that it's yeah, so we have to separate it with a comma, I think. Now let's plug that first. Um, yeah, so there we have it. Now because we have lots of data, we can't actually see the triangles. But then if I come here and then use the zoom, this is here. So if I zoom in, you begin to see the upside down triangles as we chose. Right. Okay, so that's about it for plotting. We'll solve the next question in the next video.